I know that a load of businesses have been really affected by lockdown, and in this short series of 5 videos and podcasts, I've interviewed 5 business owners who have really had to change what they do. I've called it Lockdown Leverage, and I really hope you enjoy it. This afternoon, I'm really, really excited to be working with someone who founded a business 15 years ago, and then at the beginning of last year, because of lockdown, the business should have shut down. But Brad Burton, founder of 4Networking and 1Networking and Network Central, is going to tell us exactly why it didn't shut down. Afternoon, Brad.
It didn't shut down, Steph, because you, as my pal, stepped in to bail me out. That's one of the contributing factors. Let's not underestimate that, but right? Like, I know you're not involved in it anymore, right? But that was your decision. But genuinely, you was absolutely instrumental to our recovery, and we can get into that.
But, the decisions that we both made last year, because we could both have given up and gone on to the situations vacant column in the newspaper, if that's still a thing, and started writing out job apps. And you could have written to all of 4Networking's thousands of members and say, look, sorry guys, you know how it is. And actually people would have understood that, but you took a completely different route last year.
I'm not sure people would have understood it. It was an interesting time. So we've run since 2006, run up to 5,000 meetings. Well, in fact, kind of once we reached that point, we've done over sort of 5,000 meetings every single year as a networking event. And then COVID come along, and I played enough computer games in my life to kind of know that without a vaccine, it was getting to us. Unless you shut the boards off, it was getting to us, no question. Like I kind of joking when I say computer games, but that was my kind of barometer or baseline of what a pandemic was. And I think that I kind of knew it was heading our way. And I think lots of other people were laughing at it, ha, ha, ha. And actually, I was on it. So when it landed in the UK, it wasn't any big surprise, but it was from a financial perspective. Let's just say for the sake of this conversation, we was making over £100,000 a month, and then all of a sudden you're making nothing. You've got yourself a problem. When we run 5,000 face-to-face networking events across the UK, so we actively made the decision. I've got it knocking about here somewhere. An A3 piece of like this, an A3 pad, and actually wrote on the top, what does this make possible? And what it made possible was for us to take 4Networking, the once face-to-face network, thousands of members and 5,000 meetings across the UK, and actually do it online. And I think it's fair to say, even I didn't think it would work. And I'm being really honest, I didn't think it would work. I didn't think you'd have the energy that we kind of had in the real life meetings. Although, to be honest, it just shows you even the experts like me can get it wrong. And 4Networking online has really taken off. And I think there was a lot of networks that were foolish in my respect. I genuinely felt foolish. Unfortunately, they didn't do it. But a lot of them were waiting to see what happened. And it's like, what's going to happen is you're going to have no network left. And actually what happened is people were deserting the posts, actively looking for networking or networking events that were running consistently, not just like these pop-ups. So we did really well. But I don't think you should underestimate what you did for me, like I say, in stepping in there. You really did, Steph. So I'm going to go on record now to say thank you, because, like I say, it quite possibly could have been a different story.
It could easily have been a different story for all of us. It really could. I mean, for some of the people. Oh, I'm not good at them. No,
you're not. No. But like I said, I'll take it on your behalf.
That bit out. Thank you.
Really take me out on numerous occasions.
But I think what you've said about people would have no network, because there are still people. Not people who run networking organisations, but actual businesses who aren't out there networking yet. And if they're not keeping in touch with people, they literally are losing their network now.
But it's not that. It's also look at how much like spade work that you do in terms of, your network has been growing not only wider but deeper over the years. And I think so many people underestimate networking. Well, I went there 3 years ago. I got nothing from it. I got no business. But you're still connected to all the people that you was once in the network. Because actually, I think what networking is about, I think people forget this, is it's about business. It's not. It's about people. Fundamentally, you came through the door 12 years ago, 14 years ago, whatever it was. Like literally, one of your great lines that I've stolen as my own is every big opportunity starts with a little conversation. And the little conversation that you look at what you've done with your networking success programs and everything you've done with your books, which I've got here. Great forward, by the way, certainly in your first one. But you look at that, you would not be that guy that you are now if we not connected just like everything, you wouldn't have wrote the book because you end up coming to a networking event with me and we sat on the table with the publishers by pure fluke, all these innocuous things. And I think so many, that absolute cornerstone of what you stand for, that whole, every big opportunity starts with a little conversation is so true. Because if you and I hadn't had a little conversation 14 years ago, I'm not sure if I'd be here. 4Networking would have, you wouldn't have been there because it's just so. And I think so many people kind of want the big whale when they go network and they're looking to spear the big Moby Dick, the whale. And actually, it doesn't work like that. It's every big opportunity starts with a little conversation. And so many people do not want to have those little conversations. They want to have the big conversations. And when you have those big conversations and you've not got the relationships, that's when it goes wrong, and that's when networking doesn't work. Because people, the perfect recipe for a boiled egg is 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Is there a way of speeding it up? Yes, it's called scrambled. Is that what you wanted? And too many people rush the perfect recipe, certainly when networking is concerned.
I think, I can't remember when it was, but 10 or 11 years ago, you asked me to hook up with Scott Hyder.
Yes.
And I went to meet him at Chieveley Services in Newbury, and
Wow.
no money changed hands.
Right.
Me and him sat down and chatted about something and what he was doing at the time and a business that he was about to launch at the time. Circumstances changed for him after that,
Yeah.
and then the next time I heard of Scott Hyder, he had phoned you. Me and you were in Swansea and had asked us if we could hoy all the way over to Warwickshire because he'd been. A speaker had to drop out and he had space for you to do something and me to do something. And as a result of that, I picked up some really big gigs. And
banks, yeah.
But for that first conversation, you said to me, this guy's worth connecting to. So I drove an hour down to Newbury to meet him. Then we drove whatever it was, 4 hours from Swansea to Leamington Spa to do his event for free.
Yep.
And had I not done either or both of those things, I wouldn't have got some of the big gigs that I've got. And I think that's what people don't see, because Scott's an influencer, and Scott was an influencer before it was a thing, was invented. And so I joined. You put that call in to me to join 4Networking.
Steph, if I didn't like you and we didn't have that relationship where we built on that meet, like, no one trusting, then guess what? I wouldn't have suggested that you speak to Scott. And actually, if I thought he was a bit of an idiot, I wouldn't have connected that you speak to Scott and put my credibility on the line. And actually, I think what's really interesting, is a good point in this, over the years, running 4Networking for 15 years, there's been times when you've kind of lent your credibility to people and actually they've not repaid you back. And what I mean by that is, they've either let you down or they've worked against you. And this happens as well. But what do you do? Do you turn around and say, well, I'm never gonna help anyone? And I think fundamentally, as an individual, those people that don't actually know me, but fundamentally, I think I go out of my way to help people and to make a positive difference. But I also think that from a networking perspective, everyone is too short-termism with it. And I think it's a medium and long-term game. We look at us. 14 years on, I think it is now. 14 years on. Do you know what I mean? That's like, and I got a call from your people to say, can you do a podcast with you? Straight away, there's no, speak to my agent. You don't need to. The reality is we're here, and that's based on that experience.
And that's, you're the founder and still day-to-day involved in a huge UK organisation. And because of that heritage, we're doing this afternoon, and I know you're busy, and you probably wouldn't have made time for it if we hadn't built that thing up. And someone else contacted me about
less inclined to put it that way.
Yeah, it simplifies things. It smooths the way forward. Someone else contacted me today to sell me something, and literally the last time I heard from him is when he was telling me 4Networking didn't work and he wasn't going to come back again. And he's, that person hasn't kept in touch over the years.
I call it hello, mate. I call it hello, mate, which is I get them all day long. Hello, mate. How are you? How's the family? How are you coping with COVID? Chat. Brad, what it is, I sell these candles, and I think it'd be a really good opportunity to push it through your network. And it's like a thinly disguised sales pitch. And I think this is the best time to plant a tree for wood is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. The next time to build your network is when you don't need it. And I think that too many people don't understand that the long tail impact of it. I mean, from a networking perspective, let's be clear, top of my head figure, let's say it's £1,000 a year to go networking on a substantial amount of time. And then the proviso that, it's £1,000. That's not bundles, because it's not like you've got to pay up front. You can do it on the drip. But I do not genuinely, and we've had this conversation privately, not before this, but I can't for the life of me see a better, more effective use of a pound note from networking from a small business. But I fail to see it. Like I say, somebody will say £1,000, so you can network all year long, meet real people for £1,000, or you can do a Facebook advertising campaign of which you've got no idea who's seeing it. And this is a bit how people say, 4Networking doesn't work. And I say to them, which bit of you talking to other people about your business isn't working? What the whole purpose, I've realized what the kind of problem that we solve as a network. What is the problem that we solve? The problem that we solve is making it easy for people to talk. That's what we do as a network. We facilitate it easier for people to talk without networking, to have a conversation and ring someone up cold. Yes, it's possible. It's time consuming. It's soul destroying if you're not in that world. And it kind of works against you. And I think that's what networking, that's the problem that I believe that we at Network Central and 4Networking primarily solve, is that makes it easy for people to have that conversation, that first conversation. And remember, every big opportunity starts with a little conversation, but so many people don't want little conversations. They want the big ones. And I'll give you an example. My wife, I've been married now for, put it this way, you'd serve less for murder, etc. But my wife, when I first met her in a nightclub, I never said, hey, do you want to come back to my place? We'll have sex. And in the morning, we'll get married. And in 9 months, you'll get pregnant. And then in 12 years, you'll get divorced. As it happened, it took 2 weeks. Because if I would have, pushed that agenda, she'd have run a mile. So what people get it wrong from a networking perspective is they try to force the result that they want at the expense of them losing and at the expense of it not working.
And the other thing that it does, you've talked about Facebook advertising and LinkedIn advertising, and I've just done a LinkedIn campaign and a Facebook campaign, and actually what I got from someone is that he saw my ad for something and he said, I've heard of that guy. And that prompted him to look at it. And the reason that he'd heard of me is because I've been to 1,500 4Networking meetings and I've talked to tens of thousands.
I was going to say, Steph, it's no accident you're that fat, but you've lost weight, mate. Can I just say, lockdown has been very kind to you. You must have stayed off the mini cheddars. You are looking good.
Do you know what? I'm doing this. I'm doing this on purpose. I've had a paradigm shift. I don't know whether I've talked about this publicly, but when I've talked about the fact that I got COVID.
I feel like Michael Parkinson now, Steph. Go on.
Oh, well, when I don't know who's interviewing who here. This is fun. I decided when I got COVID that I never want to feel that ill again. And I'll be 51 in a couple of weeks, as a 51-year-old man who was...
I remember you're 40. This is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
We get older then.
I just decided I never want to feel that ill again. And I knew that my weight...
But you like cakes, though, don't you, Steph?
I like cakes. I like red wine quite a bit as well. And I haven't had a glass of that since.
This is what I mean. Listen, we're taking it on a tangent now. We'll keep it brief. But this is the thing. Is we're so focused on short-term comfort that we don't want to do the medium and long-term stuff, and that applies to networking. We want the short-term win. Well, actually, short-term win doesn't fix it. The medium and long-term thinking, that's what fixes it. Sorry, Steph.
Because don't be sorry at all. Because in 2007 to 2010, I was told so many times that I was wasting my time with networking, and let's be clear, wasting my time with 4Networking and wasting my time with Brad Burton. I was told that many times. But
one of the things, Steph, about that is we was friends, and that's the thing about it. So actually, people seem to miss that bit. So if I get the commercials have been good. But as a friend, people don't understand that networking, you are going to meet friends. See, here's the problem. As you get older, your friends start dying. They start emigrating. They start getting married and no longer playing out. What we've managed to do with 4Networking is that we've actually, your pool, instead of going smaller, goes bigger. So you've got your friends within the network, people that you've known for 10 years. Paul Norman, great example of someone, 10, 12 years that you met through 4Networking. So that's 12 years of friendship, relationship as a director of one of your businesses. Yep. This is like, wow. So there's more to than referrals. And I think there's that old mindset, your referrals, business, leads. No, there's something more than that. And I don't know, I assume you do with your training. You get beyond that surface level about what, in fact, that'd be a very good visual if you're not, the surface level of the crust about leads and referrals. But beyond that, that'd be a great visual. If you don't have it, I'll have it.
You know me, I think in words and you think in graphics. And And so I'm already working the words out around that, and you're already thinking of what it looks like.
We'll swap it up. We'll swap it up.
Couple of things to ask you then. And so 4Networking has now evolved to include One Networking and Free Networking and Network Central that I know about, and I'm sure you've got more up your
the way
sleeve.
that works is actually what's happened is 4Networking has stayed where it is. One Networking has come in, 3Networking has come in as well, and Network Central has gone above that. So Network Central is the way that it kind of, best way to describe it, you're a man who likes a piece of cheese. Do you like blue cheese?
Used to, too much.
Can't stand it. Can't stand it. Never eat a piece in my life. Like, I've tried one, disgusting. Right? Do you like dairy? Love dairy. Do you like cheddar? Do you like medium cheddar?
I prefer mature cheddar.
Okay, so I prefer medium cheddar. That's what we've done with Network Central. We have a cheese board of networking that actually, if you don't like the stinky blue cheese, you might like this one. And that's what we've done. So it's all under the Network Central banner. And the reason behind that, Steph, is that it was very difficult from an identity perspective. We had the big Facebook community with 29,000 people we've got. And that's a 4Networking thing. And actually, I'm thinking, well, how can I promote to these people that actually don't like medium cheddar, but they prefer, and that was it. So Network Central, One Networking, 3Networking, 4Networking, and we can obviously talk about the different styles there.
I'll tell you what I'm interested in really, because people can find all of this and they can choose which style works for them. Now, this time last year, and for all of the time that I'd known you, networking was done face to face. Since then, all networking's been done virtually.
Yeah.
What do you reckon is going to happen in the future? When now we've got the roadmap, as it's being called, and I've asked other people about this as well. What do you believe that networking is going to look like as we start to come out of lockdown?
So, great question. I've literally come off a board meeting 2 hours ago with regards to this very thing. I believe that we, 4Networking, are going to hit the ground faster than anyone else could possibly do it. That's my mentality. My mentality is shock and awe. So I am geared up so that come June the 24th, which is a Thursday, that actually 4Networking will be all around the UK. I think there will be a new to the way that networking does. I think there'll be a hybrid, because let's be quite clear, I've visited 13 4Networkings in a week around the UK. I've drove, I think it was 1,500 miles or whatever it was. Like, hotels every night, 3 in the day, bang, 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 bang. And I wonder whether those days are finished. And I wonder whether there's a combination now between maybe online meetings and then monthly face-to-face. I have no idea. But what I did say to my team earlier is I don't have an idea. And actually, if I don't have an idea, no one has an idea. Because I've had my finger on the pulse here. Nobody knows. But what I will say, let's be clear, I know you're a vegetarian. How do you know, by the way, you're interviewing a vegetarian or a vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. But thanks. But you imagine what Nando's is going to be like on June the 22nd or 21st. Nando's is going to be like the biggest blockbuster film you've ever seen. It's going to be queuing around the block to get in. That is an indication of the bounce back that everyone is going to be doing. Everyone's going to be wanting to bounce back. People are going to want to see people face to face. And I think that I don't believe that the online stuff's going to fall away, because I'm reticent. Right now, as of now, there's a 4Networking in Glasgow with 27 people on there, 13 visitors right now, as of right now. Honestly, would I rather do it a foresight from here, an inside out sales pitch, or would I rather hightail it all the way up to Scotland, which is what I used to do, let's be quite clear. So I think there's certainly if I was going to Scotland to then spend a 3-day away break in Edinburgh, then maybe. And I think we're all going to get a little bit more respectful of travel, because we don't just appear there. And as a motivational speaker that I am, or in your case, professional speaker, I think this is the bit where people say, how much for an hour? What, you're paying for an hour? Yeah, it's not an hour that people are paying. What they're paying for is not only the travel for me to get to Manchester and back, that's 5 hours, plus a hotel room, plus you're buying 15 years of experience in those 1,500 times that I've spoken, 2,500 times I've spoken for the public. That's what people are buying. And I think that, remember what I said before about what problem that we solve? The problem that we solve is making conversations easier to happen. Will there be face-to-face? Yes. Will there be online? Yes. Will there be a potential hybrid that 4Networking are going to lead the charge with? Yes.
This is the second question, which is sort of related. You are the UK's #1 motivational speaker. I know that because I've seen it written down in loads of places.
Motivational business speaker, Steph. There's a fundamental difference.
You motivate people. Okay, so it doesn't really matter whether people are in business or not. You've got the
No.
ability to motivate people. And what came out in something that you said really early on in this conversation, which I already knew, is that when all of this happened and when everything fell apart a year ago, you didn't give up. You asked the question, what does this make possible? And then you looked at how to turn this into something positive and how to regroup and grow up from it. What advice would you give any business owner right now who's desperate, who's been forced to shut down, who doesn't know where to
Yeah,
go next? What
great
advice
question.
would you give them?
So there's a couple of things here. Friend of mine, SAS man, he said to me two things that are useful for you to know here. One, you can't delegate responsibility. Okay, think about that. You can't delegate responsibility. As tempting as it would be, oh, I'm feeling sorry for myself. I need to do telesales. I need to go and get a third party to do telesales. Trust me, they're never going to do it as good as you are, ever. So if you're shit, they're going to be worse, right? That's the reality of it. So you can't delegate responsibility. The second thing is this. The way the SES train is they'll go and get you fully kitted up with a gun and Bergen and whatever, 3-stone Bergen, and they'll throw you in a 10-foot river that's full of swell. Now, you or I, if we were in there, we'd be going, oh my God, I'm going to drown, I'm going to drown. An SES person, what they do is they teleport themselves mentally onto the side of the bank, looking at it, dispassionate the situation, and they say to themselves, right, what advice would I give that individual from me sat here on a nice warm bank? And that's what you've got to do with your situation. Take yourself out of the maelstrom, spend more time in the solution than in the problem. And so many people panic, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is stop panicking. That's what you're supposed to do. And people under stress don't make great decisions. So the idea is you do not make decisions when you're stressed. And when it comes to making decisions, where you end up in your life is going to be a result of your decisions, good ones and bad ones. Think about it. Anytime that we've ever ended up in bad places in our life has not been a result of one decision. It's been a result of lots of micro decisions that we chose to disregard. And pebbles in shoes don't magic their way out. So whatever you've got going on right now, deal with it whilst you're at your strongest. And that's what I'd say. Is that also, one, are you going to starve to death? No. Two, are you going to lose your house or your home? No. Might you get a snotty letter? Yes. Three, what does this make possible? And actually with that, it makes possible for a fresh start. We have run 3,200 and odd networking meetings in the last 11 and a half months. You know, we're probably 30% behind where we was. But also we've got a business opportunity now because once again, 4Networking, next generation referral networking. Think about a 1980s Lamborghini versus a 2020 Lamborghini. Which one's going to be faster? The 2020 one. Why? Because it's got 40 years of experience and so forth. That's what we've done with 4Networking. 3Networking, speed networking, the likes of which you've never seen before with that typical Brad type switch on it. None of that would have happened if it wasn't for COVID. So there's been some benefits, which is, you know, and as a motivational speaker, my job is to find the positive in any situation. But there has been some benefits. And in some respects, I think there's been more respect for ourselves, more respect for what we've got, more respect for your weight, more respect for that wonderful home that you created. And I think that's what this opportunity that COVID presents for us to actually start being more appreciative of what we've currently got, those wonderful views, the daffodils coming through, less, oh, let's spend money, let's get a faster car, let's do this, that, and the other. And I think that that's what the opportunity that COVID has allowed us, and also for us to see who's actually been there for us, really there, not just, oh, you want to stop wasting your time with Brad Burton, actually who's been there. And, you know, I can honestly say that me, you have been there, and we've toughed it out again. And so many other people have seen who's actually there and who's not throughout this time.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's been a thing. We've had our ups and downs in the past, and people don't see that about me and you because we do all that stuff privately.
That's the difference.
It is the difference, and we sort stuff out in the background and we come back, which is why we're talking this afternoon. I'm impressed, you know, for the commercial break part then, for any business person who's watching this or listening to it and who hasn't tried networking before and wants to find a place that they can belong, where do they find you, Brad, and where can they find
my view, check out networkcentral.biz. Networkcentral.biz. And if you want an invite to any of those networking events, completely free of charge, email hello@bradburton.biz, subject Steph Thomas. All right, and we'll get you a free visit to any of them, or in fact all of them. 1Networking, 3Networking, 4Networking, completely on us, no cost whatsoever to you, no cost whatsoever to you, and we'll get you there. Like completely, like I say, as a friend of Steph's, that's good enough for me.
Thank you for that. I wasn't expecting that at all. And where can people find you if people want to connect with you?
Brad Burton, just go and Google bradburton.biz. But once again, do find me on the socials. And I, my whole motivation is to make a positive difference. And actually, first and foremost, we talk about, you said before about you being motivational. I wasn't, my careers officer never said, oh, you'd be a motivational speaker. I kind of fell into it in the same way that Steph fell into being a networking expert. Your careers officer never said, I tell you what you need to do, Steph, you need to do 20 years as an estate agent, right? So you get to learn people and dealing with situations. And then what you need to do is write a book. And, we fell into this. But this is what I say, what makes someone an expert is the fact that they've made all the mistakes in that particular niche field. So when it comes to motivational speaking, I can honestly tell you that Steph has made every single mistake when it comes to networking, and that's why I believe he is without question the authority on networking, and the one who I say to me, there's your number one pick right there, the absolute authority, the king of networking, boys and girls, Steph Thomas.
Brad Burton, UK's number one motivational business speaker, founder of 4Networking, 1Networking, Network Central. This is the end of a busy day for you. I'm really grateful for you and your team for fitting you in. Brad Burton, thank you ever so much.
Defo, keep going. Love you dearly, friend.
You too.
Bye.